Hello and welcome to another one of my Royal Reviewer live chat sessions. Sorry for the problems earlier. This is the second attempt at today's live chat, and it was basically, I think, because I had my webcam plugged into the wrong USB port, so that's why you could hear me but you couldn't see me. I think that might be the reason. Someone sitting there being really technical might tell me otherwise, but that's my theory. Anyway, I hope you've all had a really fantastic week. Of course, lots of things have happened within the royal family, as always. I hope you've got lots of fantastic questions ready for me. And let's get started. So I've got a list, as always, of things that I'd like to talk about. But of course, I always want to start with one of your questions. So please, if you can find the chat box, then that would be a good idea to go there now. And you can start asking some questions. Okay, I'm going to type in the screen, hello, and please tell me if you can see it to make sure that I've got the right chat screen, so of course I can see exactly what you're saying. So I can see Chelsea Thomas in this window, and Sarah White, and C's Keatman. Okay, so of course lots has happened. Now I really need to find the chat room. I think the chat room that I had open previously, if you've just joined me, this is the second attempt at the live chat. The first attempt went wrong because you could hear me but you couldn't see me. Aha, that's it. I always have to make sure I go to the live control room. My screen is of course very different to what you can see. There we go. All I have to do is open chat in a new window and it should actually be there. Okay, so I can see Chelsea Thomas. Hello, Chelsea, and I can see Glassery. So you can both see me and hear me. Let's hope we get lots more people in today. Chelsea says, why is my hair up? My hair is usually up, I think. I think I've done a few videos with it down, but basically my hair is normally quite up. Jason Lewis Young says, hello, sorry, I've not been able to watch live for the last few sessions. I usually work on a Saturday evening, excited to be back. I'm excited too, and welcome back. We didn't do chat sessions over Christmas because Saturday fell on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Sarah White is back as well. Hello, Sarah. I'm glad you found this new screen. So now that the technology is working fine, I would like to take any of your questions. So please let me know if you have a question about the British royal family. One thing that I would like to start with, and it's on my notes, is the death of the Earl of Snowdon. The first Earl was Anthony Armstrong-Jones, and of course I've made a video on that. I did a photo montage video of certain pictures taken throughout his life, so I really hope that you all enjoyed that. And of course, immediately upon his death, he is succeeded by his son, who was formerly known as Viscount Linley, who is now the second Earl of Snowdon. And of course, even though he is the Earl of Snowdon now, he won't formally start using that title until after his father's funeral, just out of courtesy, but he is still the Earl of Snowdon. Okay. Glassary says, curious, is that my guitar? And if you're referring to the guitar in the background, no, it is in fact my father's guitar, as I am for this session around at my parents' house. So, Royal Reviewer coming to you live from my parents' house. My dad used to be in a band. Okay, George Boyd says, what about all this word? They have new evidence for a connection, for a conviction for Prince Charles in the death of Diana. I haven't heard any of that news, so it's probably a complete made-up story, fake news, phony news, just designed to get headlines and try and get people to buy whatever you're trying to sell, your paper, your blog, but it's not true. However, talking about Princess Diana, it is on my list as well. There is going to be a new way of celebrating, well, not celebrating, but commemorating, I think is the correct word, the fact that it has actually been 20 years since the tragic car crash in Paris. So the Diana Award has started a new legacy scheme. So 20 people from around the world, it's global, 20 young, inspirational people that sort of hold in themselves the values that Diana held and the work that she did. They are going to be awarded this new award. And there's also going to be a National Kindness Day, which is going to be held in March. There won't be a concert as there was for the 10th anniversary. And of course, we all know that Althorp, the burial site, is being done up and renovated. So that should be ready in time. And the Earl Spencer is also going to hold an exhibition. So there will be lots of commemorations for Diana in 2017. Bansley Girl says, hi Elliot, I hope you're doing very well. Why does the media need to announce the cost of the Duchess of Cambridge's outfits each time she attends an engagement? It's rarely done with other royals. I think because there's lots of Kate Middleton, I know I hate that expression, Kate Middleton, Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, blogs that follow her fashion. Lots of people want to look like her. I think there's a website called Replicate where they examine her fashion and they dissect it and they try and find replica versions at a much cheaper, affordable cost so that people can dress and emulate her style. So, of course, there is always interest in royal fashion, just as much as there was with Diana. I think she was once famously classed as a royal clothes horse. Well, I think the Duchess of Cambridge is pretty much going the same way. So people are interested, and if people are interested, companies want to emulate her fashion, and bloggers and vloggers want to write about it. In some of my videos, I do include the cost of her fashion because people are just generally interested. And if that's not your thing, don't worry, it is someone else's thing. And if it helps somebody find an item of clothing that's similar that they want to buy, then I'm all for that. Okay, Vansley Gill said it doesn't help her reputation of spending too much on clothing though. I think if you are a royal and you're working, you can't turn up all the time in the same outfits. Of course you can recycle, you can rewear, but if you were turning up constantly in the same year in the same clothes, that would also attract criticism. So you're going to get criticized whether you recycle lots and lots and lots, or rewear lots and lots, or if you buy new and you buy expensive things, you're always going to get criticized. It's a very awkward path to walk, really, because you're always going to get some kind of criticism. Somebody somewhere will always not be happy. Sarah White says, flying the British fashion, I guess. Also, I don't imagine there's much else to say other than who she is and where she goes. Maybe the outfits just add words. I think royal fashion is throughout history, fashion has always been important to the royals. They they've not always been able to say verbally what they think, but yet they can show how they feel and what they believe in symbolically through fashion. And of course, choosing the appropriate outfit for the occasion always helps. Choosing the appropriate jewellery. Of course, lots of royal jewellery has meaning. Lots of emblems have certain meanings or links to other things. We know that from Elizabeth I's day, like the wearing of an ermine or a peacock feather, it all symbolises something, it means something. So, of course, royal fashion isn't just fashion, it expresses the royal who's wearing the fashion. Classroom says, think also as she recycles clothes and uses many lower cost items but not always designer. She does mix and match. So with her fashion, she will wear high street, she'll wear Zara, she'll wear Topshop, and she'll mix it up with a very high-end haute couture item, which of course works well because that's what the modern day is about. It's about mixing and matching and capsule wardrobes. Jason Lewis Young says, can I just say thank you for the time you dedicate to your well-polished videos. I appreciate the long hours you must put in for all of us. Thank you. I really enjoy doing it. I mean, if I wasn't doing this channel, I would just be looking at the royals anyway. I'd just be sat there and I'd be thinking about them or looking at pictures of them, or in fact, I even wrote some articles before I even started this channel. So I even used to write about them back then. So it's just a way to express myself and a way to put my interest actually into something. So it's a hobby, and I really enjoy it. And you're right, it is a lot of hard work. I often come home from work and get straight away into making a new video. And of course, sometimes there's so much going on that I have to really choose and be selective of what I can cover. So it is lots of work, but I also really enjoy it, and I'm really pleased that you guys are enjoying it too. Glassby says that it's interesting that she does all the normal items in her wardrobe. Yeah, I mean, she definitely mixes and matches and wears, and also, if you've noticed, she also passes previous items that she's worn onto her mother and Pippa. So her sister and mother get some hand-me-downs, but of course they're not real hand-me-downs. She hasn't worn them lots and lots and lots. She may have worn something once or twice, and then she passes it down. So it's good to be Carol and Pippa Middleton if you're into fashion. Fancy Girl says, yes, I most certainly understand the fashion aspect. Don't mind knowing the costs, but just concerned about the Duchess. She seems to be bashed so much lately. I love to hear about the jewels. I do too. And I said it before and I'll say it again, I'd love to do a lot more on the royal family jewel collection. I have lots of books and lots of previous research done on the jewellery. It's just finding the time to make the videos and finding a time when there's not lots of current media stories going on, so that I can fit in these little bit more obscure videos. Dawn Moore says, yay, found you. Hi Dawn. Hi again from Canada. Wondering if any of the royals know about your wonderful videos and have they acknowledged you? Well, they've acknowledged me in the form of they've responded to my Christmas cards that I sent. And if you've been watching my channel, you'll see that I also got a card from Prince Harry, which is the one that I've really been wanting. So I've received a letter from the Queen. I received a official postcard photo from the Cambridges, and I've received the similar one from Prince Harry. So the only people I'm waiting for now is Camilla and Charles. So I'm hoping I'll get some soon. And just in case you haven't seen the video, here is my Prince Harry postcard photograph, but this is his official one. So this is the one that he's been sending out, and probably he'll send out all year until he gets a new one. So maybe next Christmas, when I send out some other letters or Christmas cards, I may get a different photo back. And it does say on the back, Prince Harry is most grateful to you for the very kind message sent at Christmas and sends his very best wishes for the new year. So I was really happy to receive this. And of course, I'm going to put it with my other one, which is the one from the Cambridges. So I'd like to get a double-sided glass frame so that you can see the writing on the back and you can see the front. And of course, this may turn into a collection. So I may become an avid royal writer. And I do hope my series of videos on receiving letters from royals has inspired you to go out there and to send out your own letters, because you can do it. Don't just sit there thinking, you know, how lucky I am to have had those. Send, choose a royal, send. I'm also working on a new experiment, so I'm also going to be hoping to write and send to some other members of the royal family, and I'll talk about that in a few weeks' time. But I do have a plan to hopefully add more to my collection. Okay. Sarah White says, do your parents live in Shropshire as well? Yes, they do. In fact, they actually live next door. So it's not very far away. I haven't really moved far away to come to you today. Okay. Triangle Midtown Property Management. That's a really big mouthful. I'm just going to have to call you Triangle from now on. So Triangle says, going back to Diana, do you really believe that she is buried on the island, or the rumour that she was cremated the night and her ashes placed in the family crypt? I believe that she was actually buried on the island. There are rumours that some of the residents were asked to stay indoors and that the crematorium was burning all night. To be honest, I don't believe that. There are witnesses, obviously, of her body going in the coffin. It was a lead-lined coffin, so it would have been sealed basically before she was even on the gun carriage for the actual funeral. And then one of the actual bearers who lowered her down, who lowered the coffin into the ground, has said that her body was there. She was in there. It hadn't been tampered with. Nobody had been in the coffin at all. So unless the body was removed before it was even put in the coffin, the witness says that she was lowered into the ground because he did it. He actually lowered her into the ground. And of course, it was this lead-lined coffin. And he even said that the Earl Spencer removed the royal standard and put the Spencer family flag onto the coffin. So she's definitely down there. I really don't think anything else has happened. And of course, also, there was talk about what dress she was wearing in the coffin. And I do know the designer's name. I have got a note of it. I can't remember it offhand. But she was buried in a black evening gown that had been altered, and she had long sleeves put on the dress. So I really don't think it's true. I think, and also one big thing that everyone's kind of failing to forget is that it was her wishes to be buried. It was in her will. So of course, those of you who have gone through the process of a will, is that the appointed person who looks after that will, the executor of the will, has to make sure that all of those persons' wishes happen. So if Diana requested a burial, then she would have got a burial. It's illegal to go against the terms of a will unless something legally was overturned, but there wasn't time legally to overturn a request in a will. So all this to me says that she is buried on the island in a lead-lined coffin for all of eternity, and may she rest in peace. Okay, Jason Lewis Young says, have you managed to watch The Crown yet? I've downloaded a free trial of Netflix. It's free for 30 days. I watched 10 episodes in 2 days. It's fantastic, highly recommended. I actually have it. I haven't watched any yet, but I do have it. So I have access to watch it, and I will be watching it, and hopefully I will be telling you what I think about it next week. So watch this space. But I am really looking forward to it. Glassbury says, Elliot, you should contact the Palace press office so you can get a list of those they notify. To be honest, I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I get quite a lot of the news fairly instantly because I follow quite a lot of the right kind of people on social media. So I managed to get wind of things fairly quickly. It would be nice to be notified directly, but I don't know if I qualify. I mean, do I qualify as press? I don't think of myself as a reporter. I think of myself more as a commentator. So I comment on what's out there. So I don't technically think of myself as a reporter, but I would love to know what they qualify, what I'd have to do to qualify. So maybe that's something I could look into. Fancy Girl says, is the first Earl of Snowdon entitled to a state funeral? Not a state one, no. No, for it to be a state funeral, you have to be a person of really high importance, a monarch or an outstanding prime minister, for example. Of course, Princess Diana didn't even get a full state funeral. She got kind of a semi-state funeral. Dawn Moore says, I did see that and was excited for you that you got the one from Harry. Yes, I was just really excited. And of course, when the second envelope came through from Kensington Palace, I was overjoyed. Glassbury says, yes, any word on the first Earl's funeral? Not yet, it's slightly too soon. But of course, as soon as I hear anything, I will be reporting on it, or commenting on it, should I say. And will he go with Princess Margaret? I don't think he'll be buried with Princess Margaret. However, he could be buried at Frogmore. That will be interesting to find out. So, of course, for those of you who know, the royal burial ground is Frogmore. So perhaps he will end up there, but maybe not directly next to Princess Margaret. Dawn says, do you think the boys and other family members were at the burial? Yes, they were. Of course, the hearse on the funeral day drove up and was followed by the helicopters, and it disappeared into Althorp, and it was closely followed by the royal cars containing Prince Charles and the boys, and of course the Spencer family. So they were all there, and they were all witness to the burial. Sarah says, about the Princess of Wales's burial clothes. I remember it being said a dress was borrowed in Paris, and I am sure her butler changed her dress, but I never heard what the dress was. I think she was put in different clothes in Paris, but I have a feeling, though I'm not entirely sure, but I have a feeling she was changed back in the UK. I think it was a Catherine Walker dress, and I think it was a Catherine Walker black dress, one that she'd actually planned to wear in the future, but possibly because of her injuries and because of the occasion, it was altered. So there was time for Catherine Walker to alter the dress and add sleeves to it. So that suggests to me that it wasn't the dress she was put into, or the outfit she was put into in Paris. It suggests to me that she was changed back in the UK. Stacey Lamb says, hi, finally made it. Hi, Stacey. Chelsea says, watch what? Watch The Crown. Of course, those of you who know, I haven't watched it yet, but I do have it now. So I have access to it and I will be watching it. Dawn says, Claire Foy won a Golden Globe Award for the portrayal of the Queen. And The Crown also won Best Drama Series. I'm hearing so much positive love about it. I mean, and of course, it's got a second series and there's even more planned after that. And I'm really excited to watch it. So I will be watching probably the first episode tomorrow. And I will be telling you what I think of it next week. For those of you who have been watching my videos as well, you'll know that both of the Cambridges are now fully back at work. The Duchess joined with Prince William for an engagement. And of course, she debuted a new kind of hairstyle with her hair pulled back into and fastened with bulldog clips. So I hope you've seen that video. Jason Lewis Young says, who is your favourite royal and why? Probably Prince Harry, because I think he's easygoing. He looks like he's easy to be around. He's very courteous. He knows his strengths and he plays to them. And he's very heavily involved with the charities that he supports. And he doesn't just give them a lip service. He actually really gets stuck in and visits on many occasions throughout the year. So yes, I just really, he's my favourite living royal, definitely. Dawn Moore says she's watched The Crown twice. Wow, so it must be good. Chelsea Thomas says, oh, okay, working on something for Minecraft. What are you doing on Minecraft, Chelsea? Glassery says, curious, are Harry and William close with the Spencer cousins? To be honest, I think it's a very private relationship. So we don't really see much or hear much of it. Of course, they must go and visit the island. They must go and visit. I know that William did take Catherine on 1 or 2 occasions to go and visit. So they must be in contact. Although I don't think it's one where they, go on holiday together or they sit down for meals together. But I think they're in touch. I think they probably send Christmas cards, birthday cards, and they acknowledge each other. And of course, they have to, the boys have to be able to go to Althorp to visit their mother. So I'd imagine the relationship is cordial. Jason Lewis Young says, who's my favourite dead royal? Elizabeth I. She is my favourite dead royal. She's my favourite queen. I just love all the history about the Tudors and particularly her period. I just find her a really interesting character. Fancy Girl says, I really want you to know that I was complaining when you mentioned Catherine's clothing costs in your videos. Oh, that I wasn't complaining. I was more referring to written articles in magazines. I love your videos. Well, thank you. I mean, I just say it because it takes me seconds to say it. It takes me seconds to just say what the cost of an outfit is, or who the designer was, or something about the jewelry she's wearing. It takes seconds. So to me, it's no skin off my nose. I don't mind commentating on the fashion. I know lots of you like to know what the fashion is, as I said before, so that you can perhaps find something similar. Or if you've got the money, buy the exact same thing. Please let me know if you've ever tried to emulate a royal's style. Could be any royal. Just let me know. Chelsea says she's going to make Malfoy Manor Hardwick Hall. Yes, Hardwick Hall. I think there's a rhyme about that. Hardwick Hall, Hardwick Hall. Something about the glass in it. There's a rhyme. I will find the rhyme. Can someone Google the rhyme about Hardwick Hall? That's it. Hardwick Hall, Hardwick Hall. More glass than wall. That's it, because Hardwick Hall had lots of glass. It was the first innovative property that had lots of windows. Hardwick Hall, Hardwick Hall. Much more glass than wall. It's something like that. But yes, it is a very it was a very innovative Tudor property. Jason Lewis Young says Elizabeth I is mine too. And Dawn Moore says, why would the current Queen not be Elizabeth II? If there's Elizabeth I, then her mother, Queen Elizabeth. That's because the Queen Mother wasn't a Queen regnant. She wasn't a queen in her own right. So there was Queen Elizabeth I, and there could, I mean, there wasn't, but let's just say there was 10 other queen consorts who were named Elizabeth. They wouldn't be classed as an actual queen. They would always be a queen consort. So Queen Elizabeth II is in fact the actual second queen regnant ever. I hope that makes sense. Stacey Lamb says, I really love how Zara dresses. That navy dress was awesome. I loved it too. And I'm really glad that she's picked herself up after her really sad miscarriage. And her and Mike have got out there, and they're in Australia. They're on the Gold Coast, and she's doing what she loves. She's getting back on the horse, she's playing polo, and she's working for the Magic Millions. So she's got a lot on her plate right now, and I'm really glad that she's up and about and fighting fit. So let's hope that she puts these troubles behind her, and maybe she'll fall pregnant again this year. Who knows? But yes, I really loved her dress, and also the yellow dress she was wearing on the beach. I hope you've seen the videos. If you haven't, go and watch them after this. Fancy Girl says, my favourite royal is Her Majesty and Prince Harry. They are such special people. Yes, I mean, also I think there'll be a big surge in Queen Elizabeth II's popularity when she does eventually die. I mean, she's very popular now as it is, but I think people will really value and understand what they've lost when she's gone. Fancy Girl says, I had to dress up as Queen Victoria twice, so I guess you emulated her. I mean, actually, speaking of Queen Victoria, I do think that Catherine could emulate some of her style. Now, bear with me on this. I'm not talking about the black bouffant dresses. I'm not talking about the white lace. I'm talking about the small diamond crown. You may or may not know that the actual arches on Queen Victoria's small diamond crown are removable, and it turns into a circlet. And I think Catherine wears lots of up hairdos, and I think that if she put that small crown when she's Princess of Wales or when she's Queen Consort, she could wear a fantastic updo with the Queen Victoria's small diamond crown coronet around the bun or with the hair coming through it. And I think that would be a really amazing modern way to get that piece of jewellery out of the vaults. I think it's actually in the Tower of London, so they could potentially get it out of there and actually wear it and use it. So I do think that she could emulate Queen Victoria there. Dawn Moore says, yes, makes perfect sense, thank you. Well, thank you, Dawn, for listening. Stacey Lamb says, who do you feel are the least approachable royals and seems a bit uptight to me? To me, probably Prince Andrew, maybe Prince Michael of Kent. I mean, some people say Princess Michael of Kent, but I actually think I probably get on quite well with Princess Michael. I think the ones that you don't hear much about, where you don't really see their personality, those are the ones who perhaps seem a little bit unapproachable or uptight. Jason Lewis says, Princess Anne seems very funny and charismatic. I saw an interview with her on Parkinson? Do you mean Parkinson, the interviewer? Well, basically, Princess Anne has been to my area. She's been to Shropshire. She went on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I was at work, so I couldn't go and get a first-hand account of her. But she did go to a business in my area, and she toured the headquarters, and I will be making a video on that in the week. Sarah White says, that sounds lovely. Someone quick Photoshop the crown. Yes, I would love to see it, and if it gave her the idea to wear it, then that would be great. Or even for the Queen to loan it to her, that would be amazing. I would love to be her stylist. Stacey says, I am glad to hear that, Jason. And Glasgow says, curious, what's up with the Yorks? Engagements, Eugenie quitting her job, and a Swiss chalet. Well, the engagement hasn't still been officially announced. It was a story that was broke in the UK. It was believed to be true. However, I think it slightly scared them off, and I think it's put them back a little bit. So I think we will see the engagement, and of course we've seen a change of home as well. She's now moved into Kensington Palace, into a cottage called Ivy Cottage, which is very close to Prince Harry's Nottingham Cottage. It's on the same kind of square within the grounds of Kensington Palace. So there is movement, but no official engagement yet. I think it will be coming. I think the story was true. I wouldn't have reported it if I didn't think it was. So I think it's coming sometime this year, possibly even the first half of the year. So we'll watch this space for that. And of course, the Swiss chalet that was bought a couple of years ago now. Prince Andrew and Sarah bought a Swiss chalet that's rumoured to be around about £6 million, which is probably about $8 or $9 million. So a very expensive Swiss chalet. And of course, Sarah bases herself there pretty much all year round. Pouty Gorilla says, greetings from the Virginia colonies. Hello, Virginia. Greetings from me. Glastonbury says, has the dust settled over the Charles and Andrew problem? Well, we've heard nothing more about it recently. I think Andrew's denial, his very public denial, probably quelled it a little bit. But of course, people are still going to think about it. People are still going to wonder. And people are still going to be watching the York princesses to see what they do next and how they're used within the royal family and if they're being utilised. I still think that their time will come when the work increases, when William and Catherine and Harry are at full capacity and there's spare work, then they could be used. Dawn Moore says, I saw Prince Charles and Princess Diana when they came to Canada in October 1991. There is actually a YouTube video of it. I'll have to look at the video. Of course, Diana and Charles were widely travelled. So so lots of people probably got a chance to see them. I wish I could have seen them in real life too. Just out of interest, did anybody see William and Catherine when they went? Stacey Lamb says, who do you feel is the best dressed royal? Probably, I mean, the Queen has very classic style. It's a style all of her own, and of course she has lots of her outfits made, tailor-made for her, in-house. By Angela Kelly, and of course she wears fantastic hats. So of course the Queen is a very classic style. She always looks immaculate. I still like Camilla's fashion. You know, say what you like about the woman, I think her fashion is actually very good. It's very age appropriate. It suits her, and I think her fashion is a kind of modern uptake on the Queen Mother's fashion. I can see lots of similarities. Maybe not quite the sort of floaty flowing gowns, but if you look, you know, the very wide brimmed hats, and she wears lots of the Queen Mother's jewellery. I think her style is very a modern take on the Queen Mother. Catherine, of course, is you know, a fashionista's, a designer's dream. You know, she's very slender of figure and she wears clothes really well. I think Prince William's had a very big fashion overhaul of late, and Prince Harry always wears the appropriate clothes for the occasion. And I think out of all the royal men, I think Prince Harry looks really good in a suit. So I think lots of royals look immaculate for their own reasons. Princess Michael of Kent always looks really good too, and I really like Lady Louise Windsor's style. Lady Louise Windsor, if you notice, dresses very much like a young queen. When the Queen was young, she wears lots of twin sets and cardigans and little sort of skirts below the knee. She dresses very 1950s, and I like it. I really do like it. Okay, Dawn Moore says, look up Sudbury, Ontario. I will do. Jason Lewis says, I think you mentioned before your intention to start a series of royal profiles on my channel. Well, I've kind of done that today because I did pretty much a very comprehensive review of David Linley, formerly Viscount, David Armstrong Jones, formerly Viscount Linley, now Earl Snowdon. So I did a little bit of a review on his life. So I'm going to start a new folder and put that one in there. You say, I'm looking forward to this very much. When do you think you'll be able to start making them? Like I say, I already have. So check out the Meet the New Earl of Snowdon video. Loretta Hurd says, hi Elliot. Hi Loretta. When Eugenie moved into Kensington Palace, did her boyfriend join her? I think officially she's moved in by herself, but I'm sure he stays there and has moved in pretty much full time. Fancy Girl says, you sure have a lot of Canadian followers, of which hopefully I am one. which you happily are of one. Sorry, I can't read very good today because the light I'm using to light me is really bright today, and it's quite dazzling. So I'm having a little bit of trouble reading because I'm not in the same location. And of course, normally I'm looking up slightly at the screen. So if I struggle to read your comment and get it slightly wrong, that's the reason why. Yes, I have lots of Canadian people that watch my videos, and Australian, and believe it or not, people from the Philippines. When I look at my stats at the end of every month, I do see that quite a lot of viewers come from the Philippines, and of course the UK and Canada and Australia. So of course I love having viewers from all over the world. It makes this even more special because I know that you know, people are watching it from all over the world. Stacey Lamb says the video froze. Hopefully it hasn't froze for everyone and you can at least hear me, hopefully. Nancy Wright says, does Angela Kelly make the Queen's hats? She makes some of them, not all of them. Sometimes she might have a David Tracy hat, or she might have a different milliner, but they do have an in-house at Buckingham Palace hat making facility. I do have Angela Kelly's book, and Angela Kelly also looks after the Queen's jewels. And in this book, it shows you lots of her jewels all laid out. I wish I brought it down now. Maybe I'll show you Angela's book next week. Maybe that could be the thing that I show you from my collection. Glassery says, what is the feeling in the UK over Meghan and Harry? The real deal or passing romance? I think people think it's a real deal. I think people think it's the most serious relationship he's had, even though he's had lots of long-term relationships. Elsie Davy and Cressida Bonus. I think people think this is a lot more serious. He's taking more steps to protect Meghan than he did the other two. And of course, he's trying to be a lot more private. I think this is totally serious. I don't think it's a passing romance. And I think we'll see a lot more clues from Meghan as to if she takes on any further public roles, such as TV work. I think it would be acceptable for her to carry on with Suits, but if she takes on any new roles, that will show that she's committing more to a career than perhaps to Harry, if that makes sense. Because of course we're all thinking that if he's buying a new house and he's spoken about possibly marriage and children, he's looking to nest. And if she's looking, and if to nest with him would mean giving up her career, I really can't see that she would have both. So to take on any new roles rather than her existing ones would be probably to show that it's not serious. But if she doesn't, and of course she's quelled her social media, she hasn't really been posting a lot of the Instagram and Twitter posts that she was doing, that to me shows that it's serious from her side. So we'll wait to see. It's a bit like a game of chess. We'll wait to see what the next move is. And I'm sure whatever the move is, it will be quite revealing. So good question. Nurse Nana says, cheers from the USA. I just discovered your channel and love it. Love the Royals and love England. Thank you very much. Loretta says, I'm waiting for the Royal Profile Series 2. Can't wait. Well, like I say, I've already started it. I started it today with the Earl Snowden video. Meet the new Earl Snowden. David Armstrong Jones. Stacey Lamb says, is anyone experiencing any video difficulties? Please let me know as well. It seems to be okay from my side. Let me just see if I can check. It seems okay from my side. Loretta says, how can the boyfriend move in, but everyone has to wait to go to Balmoral or Sandringham? Because it's a private home. Kensington Palace isn't one of the Queen's official residences that she actually resides in. So of course they all have individual private apartments within the palace. So Ivy Cottage is just that. It's a kind of attached to like the stable block, the sort of staff and workers cottages. They would have formerly been staff and workers cottages. So Prince Harry is in Nottingham Cottage, which was formerly occupied by William and Catherine. while they were waiting for their renovations to be completed in the main part of the palace. So Ivy Cottage, I think it's next. I think it is literally next to a stable block. If you look on one of the Google Maps and you look down, you can actually see. And if you look at my video I made on her moving, I think I showed that in the video. So go back, go into the supporting cast playlist, and you will find that video. So watch it, and you'll learn lots more about Ivy Cottage. Pouty Gorilla says, do you know what the Queen carries in her purses? For those of you who want to know, they are actually Lorna, L-A-U-N-E-R handbags, and she always has these Lorna handbags, and they are very luxury, high-end handbags. They also make men's wallets, so if you're a man and you want a piece of Lorna to be like the Queen, and also Prince Charles has a Lorna wallet as well. So I think the Queen, I mean, we know she doesn't carry money. I would imagine she probably has a lipstick, maybe a compact of powder, perhaps a tissue or two, maybe her glasses, and perhaps even a phone or an alarm of some kind. I mean, perhaps she has some kind of personal alarm in there, some kind of communication device. So I think it's, you know, fairly basic what she has in her purse, but I'm sure everything else she needs is around her or carried by her. Meghan says, hello from Santa Barbara, California. Hello, Meghan. Fancy Girl says, have you ever been to Canada? No, I haven't. If not, perhaps you'll be able to visit beautiful British Columbia. It looked fantastic when I was following the Cambridges. I would love to go. And even before that, I always wanted to go to Canada. It's always one of those countries that just seems amazing. And my grandfather was on the Arctic convoys in the Second World War, and he said he did sail close to Canada, or even it may have even been through bits of Canada, and he said the scenery was fantastic. Stacey Lamb says, I can't see or hear anything. Oh no. I really hope the rest of you can hear me, and I hope that you can hear me soon too. Glassby says, Stacey, close out the screen, clear the browser, and then come back in. Good tip. So if you can't hear me, please do that. Mahmood Sah says, hello, and hope everyone's had a good week. Yes, I have, thank you, and I hope you've had a really good week too. Stacey Lamb says, great, I'm back. Thanks, Glassery. Yes, thank you for that helpful hint. And Glassery says, Harry question also, is he still in Nottingham Cottage? Yes, he is, or moving to a larger place in Kensington Palace. I think he'll wait until he's married and possibly got children before he moves. There isn't a lot of space in the main palace available. The main apartments are the ones that his mother occupied, which are now the Cambridges and Prince Harry's offices. They're used as office accommodation. Prince and Princess Michael of Kent are in a sort of wing that's next to where Diana used to be. William and Catherine are across the courtyard in the clock tower, facing the gardens, and they are in Princess Margaret's and Lord Snowdon's old apartments. Then we have the Kents, they're in one. So it's all full. The rest of it is staff apartments, and so the Nottingham Cottage and Ivy Cottage were the only ones available. So I think he'll have to wait until something becomes vacant before he moves. Vancy Gill says, you're such a wealth of information. Thank you very much. It's really nice for me to use it. Otherwise, like I say, it's just stuck in my head. Jason Lewis Young says, why is Prince Harry squeezing into Nottingham Cottage when other less senior royals have huge apartments? Because basically they got there first. And of course, they weren't less senior royals at the time they got them, because, you know, Charles wasn't born and his line wasn't in existence. They actually were supporters of the Queen in the 50s and the 60s. They were quite big players in the royal family. So of course they got these grace and favour apartments in Kensington Palace, of which it would kind of be a little bit rude of the Queen to kick them out. So of course the younger royals are having to wait until they become available. But he is looking to buy his own place. Of course, he is independently wealthy. He inherited part of the Queen Mother's legacy, and of course, he got his half of his mother's legacy, which of course he has access fully to now. He's fully inherited that. No part of it is held in trust. So I did do a video. We think he's looking at buying a property called Water Hall in Norfolk, which isn't terribly far from Anmer Hall, where Catherine and William are, or indeed from Sandringham. So I think and I believe that he has actually purchased it because it's now been removed from the market. So I think it's sold, and I think he's bought it, but we'll have to wait and see for news of that. And of course, as soon as I know, I will let you know. And of course, we know that he has been looking for properties. So, and that particular one did fit all of his criteria. Stacey Lamb says maybe she keeps a picture of her corgis in her purse. Who knows? I really don't know. She might have a picture of her mother and father in a locket, or I don't know. But I would love to take a peek. Dawnmore says the city in Canada I live in has 330 lakes within the city boundaries. It's beautiful. I have heard about the scenery, and I would like to experience it firsthand. Okay, also this week I made a video. It was Catherine's 35th birthday, so I really hope that you enjoyed the montage of pictures that I sourced for that. And the Queen was well, and she was seen at church last Sunday, so hopefully we'll see her again tomorrow, and if we do see her, I will bring you another video of that. And also it will be good to know who is still at Sandringham with her. We know that Harry's left, we know that Charles and Camilla have left, Princess Anne's back to work, the Cambridges are back to work. I'm imagining perhaps the Wessexes are still there, but we will see. Nurse Nana says, is Queen Elizabeth doing well? Has she been out and about? She's been at church, she's been receiving her red boxes, she's received some people, but of course she was about to remain in Sandringham until early February anyway, so she's still on officially her Christmas break. And those of you who may not know, but the Queen does insist on her Christmas decorations being kept up into February. So the Christmas decorations at Sandringham are taken down the day or the day after that she leaves to go back to Buckingham Palace. So at the minute, the Queen is at Sandringham with all of her decorations still up. Stacey Lamb says, how long does it take you to put a video together? I would probably say from start to finish, an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the story. Of course, I start with writing the story. Then I find the pictures to go with the story. Sometimes it's easy if it's a news event because the pictures are already there. And of course, I always try and find the most interesting ones. Then I look at what I've written and I sync up the pictures to the article so that I know when to move to the next picture, so that hopefully what I'm talking about is some kind of picture that relates to that you can see on the screen. Then of course I record it and then upload it, and that takes a certain amount of time. And then yeah, you can go onto YouTube, and for those of you who have not made a YouTube video, there's lots of things to play with. You can add end cards, you can add information cards, so it takes a bit of time to do that. You have to update the keywords so that people can find it, the description. Then through the YouTube channel, I can put out the video on Facebook and Twitter and Blogspot and all the other social medias, so that hopefully you know that I've got a video out, which is why I say it's so important to subscribe, so that you don't have to check the social media. You just, the next time you're on YouTube, it tells you that I've made a video. then I promote it. So I will go around some of the Facebook groups and I will post a video, well, post a link to the video so that people can hopefully find it. So all in all, I'd say an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on the story and the complexity of the story. Nurse Nana says, do you work with the royal family? No, but I would love to. I'd love to get an exclusive interview one day with one of them. I mean, of course, the Queen doesn't do interviews, but I would love to talk about the work that they do, perhaps with the Cambridges, Prince Harry. I would love that. Loretta says, so Elliot, your Royal Profile series isn't going to be doing the live chats, but in videos. Yes. I mean, of course, I could choose a royal each week on the live chats to talk about, but I will be doing an actual video, hopefully, of lots of different members of the royal family, perhaps even some more obscure ones, a little bit like I've done with Viscount Linley, the new, or the second, should I say, Earl Snowdon. So just people perhaps that you don't know about that you'd like to know a bit more. Jordan says hello. Hello, Jordan. Fancy Girl says, do you think little George and Charlotte will attend a boarding school? Yes, eventually, but before then they go to prep school. We think that George his name has been put down to Wetherby School in London, which is very close to Kensington, which is where William and Harry went. And we think that the Cambridges are trying to keep in the tradition that William and Harry were in. So I think he will go to Wetherby in September, which leads me to think that he will leave his job as an air ambulance pilot, which is based in Norfolk, by their home at Anmer. And I think he will base himself in the week primarily in London. And I think he will take up lots more full-time royal duties, which fits in with the Queen taking a bit of a step back. And I think Catherine will also take on a few more duties. And of course, when Charlotte's old enough, she will also go to school in London. George currently attends a Montessori nursery close to Anmer. But of course, in September, it will be all change. And I think he will give up his job as an air ambulance rescue pilot. So I think sort of late summer will be the last time that he works there. Okay, Stacey says, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you very much for watching. Loretta says, why isn't George VI popular in British history? People speak of Churchill before George VI. And he took the people through the war. I think he was popular. He was very popular at the time. And of course, people of his generation are dying. You know, lots of people of his generation are in their 80s or in their 90s. And, you know, he isn't in lots of people's real life memories. He's just, to a lot of people, a historical figure. And of course, lots of people talk about Churchill. He was a very big figure. But George VI hasn't been forgotten. And of course, there was the recent film about him, the King's Speech. So he's not forgotten. But of course, Churchill was such a larger than life character, which is probably why of that period he's talked about a little bit more. Jordan says, how is the Queen? As far as I'm aware, she's doing well. She attended church last week. Hopefully we'll see her tomorrow as well. I also would like to mention, while I've got the chance, a little bit about internet trolls. Now, those of you who comment in the comment section may have noticed that there has been a little bit of trolling, particularly with probably one or two commentators. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I do believe in freedom of speech. And I think as long as a comment isn't directly aimed at somebody personally, and as long as it isn't a personal attack, then they are entitled to have their view, even if it's not something that we agree with, even if it's something that we think makes them look totally silly and idiotic. I kind of think that serves the purpose. If they're posting and we can see what an idiot they are, it just highlights it and we needn't do anything else. So I urge you, if a troll is on there, just, I mean, of course you can comment, but don't lower yourself to their level. Let them show themselves for what they are. If you do have a problem personally and they are attacking you personally and I haven't seen that, then comment on the post so I'll be aware of it, and then I will delete it. I think these people need to be exposed. They need to have exposure for people to see the sort of people they are, that they aren't very nice people. So I ask you to have patience with these trolls, and of course I am always looking at the comments, and if someone is being personally abusive, I will remove them. So there you go. Michael Hope says, regarding George VI, I think he is popular. He's the father of the Queen. Everyone appreciates what he did for the nation, along with the Queen Mother. I completely agree. Fancy Girl says, you must be so thirsty and ready for a cup of tea and a nap after one of these live chats. I do always go and have a cup of tea after. I pretty much chat for an hour and a half, which is probably the most I talk consecutively in a whole week. So yes, maybe next time I'll bring a cup of tea with me, if you can stomach seeing me sip tea. Loretta says, does George VI have statues throughout the UK? As far as I'm aware, the one in London, there's one in London with the Queen Mother and George VI. I think George VI is slightly raised above the Queen Mother. And of course, the Queen Mother statue came after her death, and it's very near to Clarence House, where Prince Charles lives. And of course, Prince Charles had a replica cast from the same mould, the very same mould of his mother, of his grandmother rather, the Queen Mother, and he had it put in his Poundbury development. And I did make a video on that. So if you've missed that video, scroll back through. I can't remember exactly where it is, but if you look under Prince Charles's playlist, you will see that video. And it's an exact replica from the exact same mould. Gladby says, I think Churchill had the great oratory skills. With the royals, I think the Queen Mother took the beloved wartime royal crown. Yes, I think the Queen Mother was the strength behind George VI. Definitely. Okay, Fancy Girl says, yes, do bring a cup of tea with you next time. I'll join you. Yes, if everyone brings tea, that'll be great. Maybe one of these days I'll do a video on how I make my cup of tea. You might not be interested, you might be. But there you go. I also plan to do lots more product reviews. There are official royal websites where you can buy things, the Royal Collection shop. So I'm going to hopefully purchase some new things and show some more unboxings and product testing. Nurse Nana says, it would be nice if we could have tea together. It would. I'd love to do that with all of you. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, in the description of every single video, I have links to my social media accounts. So please check them out. Please subscribe to them or like them or follow them. I have Royal Reviewer on Instagram. That's Royal_Reviewer, and that's Instagram. And I do sometimes post different sorts of pictures on there. I have @Royal_Reviewer for Twitter, and again, it's slightly different, and there's lots more different content for you to have a look at. I have Royal Reviewer Blogspot, Royal Reviewer Facebook page, so please check that out. And I have Royal Reviewer on Google+. Chelsea says, I don't like tea. That's okay. You can have a coffee or a soft drink. What's your favourite drink? Okay, Stacey Lamb says, what is your favourite tea? For ages, I've used a home brand supermarket. I don't know if you've got a Sainsbury's or you've heard of Sainsbury's in the States or Canada, but we have a Sainsbury's supermarket. And I like their own red label tea. I also like Earl Grey, and I like quite strong tea. Twinings is also good, so I agree with you, Jason. But you drink yours always black, no sugar. I don't have sugar, I do have a tiny bit of milk. Dawn Moore says, I've been lucky every time there's been a birth or wedding, I've been able to get tea from Kensington Palace. Latest one, of course, is Princess Charlotte's birth. Yes, you can go on there, you can go on the website and you can buy these tins. And I have a tin of biscuits and it's got Buckingham Palace facade on, and I now use the tin as my button box. So they have lots of different uses. Chelsea Thomas says she likes Coke, the drink. Okay, East Coast Artist says, if you drink tea during your chat, I will too. Next week, I will bring tea. Nurse Nana says, how long have you been doing this? The live chats, probably 4 months maybe for live chats. The channel I've actually had over 1.5 years, but I didn't make many videos probably for the first year. I did them very sporadically. So probably 6, 7, 8 months I've been doing the channel, what I would call properly. Of course, I would like even more time to do, 4 videos a day. I could easily do 4 videos a day. There is so much stuff out there. I could make 4 a day, but I just simply don't have the time. Michael also likes Vimto. I like Vimto too. Dormore says, I have teacups. Princess Charlotte's is so pretty, the pinks and golds. I've also got teacups. I could show you those one week. Stacey Lamb says, I love Twinings and Earl Grey. I had green tea and lemongrass. I also do like those sorts of teas as well. You also like spearmint. It was lovely. I will join you for tea too. It doesn't matter what tea you have. We could all have tea Saturdays. Loretta says, have you seen the YouTube video that shows Paul Burrell showing people how to fix Queen, how she has her tea? No, I haven't, but I will take a look. I also know that the Queen's favourite alcoholic drink is a gin and dubonnet. Jason Lewis Young says, would you like to quit your day job and focus on YouTube? Yes, I would. It would be really good to spend all day doing what I love and writing about what I love and putting it out there and doing more chats with you guys. I mean, I could perhaps do 2 or 3 live chats a week if I had the time, maybe at different times in the day, so that different people could catch the chats live. So yes, I would like to. And also, if I wasn't working full time, I would be able to go to London and actually take photos and film footage and put proper film videos together of these live events, which would be amazing. I would love to do that. Nurse Nana says, I was very sad about the report of Princess Diana's Oval Island resting place. Well, rest assured, it is being fixed up. So that will be put right. Meghan B says, I had a cup of Yorkshire tea with cream at the start of this video. I am now sipping on a hot chocolate. Well, that sounds amazing. I wish I could sample your hot chocolate. Chelsea says, I hate math. I'm trying to work out how big Malfoy Manor Hardwick Hall is going to be. I don't know. Perhaps you could look on Google for an aerial map of Hardwick Hall, and then you could perhaps work it out. Speaking of drinks, I am getting very thirsty now, so I'm going to end the chat. I really hope that you enjoyed today's chat. We've covered lots of topics. As always, the chat has been great. I've had amazing questions, and I really enjoy chatting with you guys. So until next week, I'm going to have to say goodbye. So same time next week. It's always on a Saturday, 10 o'clock GMT. GMT, for those of you who don't know, is Greenwich Mean Time. So you can always convert from where you are, what time that is for you. But hopefully it suits most people. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye.